had this recurring theme come up in just my own personal exploration, probably for a year or more. Probably it's been for several years. I just didn't know what to call it. But I'm noticing, this is going to sound funny, but I'm noticing that how I process my emotions deeply influences how I am a disciple day in and day out. And I came across this thing called emotional regulation. And it was kind of tangentially with addiction. We often talk about addiction is medicating past pain. This particular author put some different words on it and suggested that certain addictions actually are a way of regulating our emotions, which I thought was kind of a fascinating idea. Which led to some thinking just about, well, how do I process my emotions? And am I aware of my emotions? And of course, several years ago, Patrick Lencioni and a couple of others proposed this idea of emotional intelligence. And I think there's some usefulness in that. I don't think it's I'm not sure it's very clinical, but I still think it's useful. And anytime that you raise your self-awareness, I think you improve your discipleship. I think self-aware people win. And the more you're able to identify how you're feeling and being able to process it in a healthy way, I think that only improves not just your life and well-being, but also how you follow Jesus. It just seems to me that emotions are the things that get us into trouble. And yet, I would not want to be without them. I had a friend of mine who put it this way: you can't be all Spock and no Kirk. I think that's true. I don't want to be all logic, because emotion is what gives us joy, but also it's what breaks us heart for the things that break God's heart. And yeah, I don't want to be devoid of emotion. However, I think that emotion is also a cruel taskmaster. I just know from my own experience, especially when I was younger, the times where emotions were so overwhelming, you almost couldn't see straight, and that's not healthy. There's that passage in, I think it's Genesis chapter 4, where God is talking to Cain, and he's talking about his mood. Why is your face downcast? You know what's right, and there's this idea that you're having these emotions. You need to master it, because it will seek to devour you. And I thought, yeah, I know plenty of people who, because of emotion, it devours them. And maybe you've experienced that as well. So there's a link in my mind between emotional regulation and discipleship. I don't know what it is fully, but I see that there's a connection to it. And I'm raising this because this impacts you in your life, certainly, but also the people that you're in community with, because they're trying to deal with their emotions too. And your first community is your family, right? So how many of us walk kind of tiptoe around certain family members because we're not sure what their mood is? That does happen. And vice versa. How many of your family members are tiptoeing around you because they don't know what your mood is? And so I want to just encourage all of us from a discipleship standpoint to talk to the Father about essentially emotional regulation, and just say, Lord, where are my emotions mastering me? Where are the places that I'm vulnerable in my own discipleship, just because I don't necessarily have a lock on how I'm feeling? So again, self-aware people win. And I think self-aware people win in their discipleship. So, maybe this is a blinding flash of the obvious. Maybe it's something you're already aware of. But for me, this is becoming a bigger deal. It just, at least as I try to learn more about how God wants me to interact with the world around me. So anyway, inextricable link. Emotional regulation, discipleship. Chew on that for a little while. Grace and peace.